Hi, gang. My name is Dana Dare, and you are listening to Behind the Rainstones, where I interview some of the stars of the burlesque and cabaret scene. And tonight we have someone who is joining us from the UK scene. It is the lovely Cadbury Parfait. Welcome to the show, Cadbury. It's lovely to have you here.
Lovely to be here. Thank you for having me.
No, it's great. And for anyone who's watching this online, you're so leopard print. It's amazing.
I think it's become a problem, when I'm that like final boss of leopard print. And I was on the train and I looked down at my suitcase, my coat, my water bottle, my trousers, my socks were all leopard print. And I think maybe I've gone too far. But
No, no. I
yeah,
think that I think you're right. You're the final boss
yeah.
of leopard print, and that's fine. Do you
It's
have a leopard print act?
No, I don't. And there's definitely a sort of trend at the minute of people leaning towards it. So it's sort of like, what would I do with it? I remember as a kid really loving it because of the Spice Girls.
Yeah.
And that for me was like the first like key black woman that I saw that was big and famous. And so I really
Hmm.
lent into it. And then I remember hitting my teenage years, and then it was known as the slaggy print.
Yeah.
And obviously then not having the confidence to sort of rock that. So then just stopped wearing it and then coming
Mhm.
back to it in my 20s and then being like, I love it. Like, why am I denying this?
Yeah.
I don't care. And actually now I think, yeah, okay, if some people think it's trashy or slaggy, I'm gonna run with that. But also I think it's just a neutral. It goes with
Yeah.
everything. So I'm just gonna run with it. But yeah, maybe I'd have to really think of which way to go with it. Maybe I am the leopard. I don't know. We'll see.
There's something in there anyway, for sure.
Absolutely, yeah.
You have to. Yeah, it's I definitely had that thing as well growing up where it was like it was slaggy and trashy and like not you don't wear that. It was very
Yeah,
much that you don't wear that. And then I kind of came into burlesque and it's like the burlesque basics and I was like, oh, this is cool.
absolutely. I love that I always say to non-performers, you can spot a burlesque performer a mile off because they will be dragging an oversized suitcase. There will be some remnants of leopard print on, and they will have huge lashes on, and either the hair will be under rollers or they'll have a beret on. And that's how you know
Yeah.
burlesque performer.
You can spot us so far away.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, to get into burlesque then, so this question I always start with because it's always a good question to start with. How did you get into burlesque? Like, what is your origin story to the world?
So I guess I've always been on stage. I was that little theatre kid from like 3, 4 years old. Um, I think mum was like, "This is free babysitting." She goes down to the community theatre and just loved it. So just being on stage. Then at university, I studied theatre, film, and television.
Nice.
Uh, Loved that. And then I moved to London. 21, graduated. We're going to London, and realizing that it's so competitive and also you have little to no time or money when you're working just to pay your rent. So there was never any, yeah, sort of space to explore it. But I did start going to shows. So I'd go to Madame Jojo's a lot. RIP,
Mm.
back when Soho was cool. And yeah, I started seeing shows and I loved it. And it was a friend's hen party. And we were all dressed up. And I got dragged on stage by Tempest and made to do like a little shimmy and a walk. And I ended up winning that night.
Yep.
The rest of the night, I do not remember. But then he saw it as like, okay, I like this. What is this? I need to know more. But then I ended up moving to Berlin, and there's again, it's definitely a city built with artists who can live and work and be creative and still
Mhm.
have a good standard of living.
Mhm.
So suddenly I had the time. or work flexibility, and money to go to classes, see shows. And this was back in 2014, 2015, and just started slowly figuring out what it was I wanted to do. Is this something I want to consider? But the scene in Berlin back then was sensational. It still is, but it's changed a lot.
Yeah. The way that every scene does.
Absolutely. Obviously, it has its sort of, like Pokemon evolution, for better or for worse. And, and there's obviously people come and go. Berlin's very much one of these cities. It's not a for life city.
Mm.
It's a stage of your life city. So it's a hugely international city. A lot of people come in their mid 20s, experiment a lot, and then they either leave, either going back to their origin countries, or they settle down in Berlin, whether that's marriage, whether that's children, whether that's getting a normal job.
Mm.
Um, but yes, obviously things then change. So because of that, the work and the artistry that's out there obviously changes.
Yeah.
But I met some of the most wonderful people in Berlin. I mean, that's where I first met Bamboo Cross. You've got Viola, Lolita. That's where I met Scotty the Blue Bunny. And then,
Hmm.
one of my besties, Felicity Felicis. And it's so wonderful that none of us were native to Germany. We
Hmm.
were either British, Australian, American, and yet we all sort of found each other in these spaces. Um, and yeah, that was really wonderful. And, that's all of them have definitely inspired what I've gone on to do for sure.
And at what point did you decide then that this is what you wanted to do?
So I remember the first time I went on stage, that'll be 10 years this year.
What?
Um,
That's
I
amazing.
know, madness. I just, you're like, I mean, COVID obviously was in the middle of that. So then,
Mm.
but at the same time, it's still like, where did those years go? But I remember being excited to perform. Being on stage just felt very natural to me.
Yeah.
The concern wasn't the performance aspect, the concern was the taking of the clothes off. I
Mm.
was still very British in my sensibility to nudity.
Hmm.
And, the whole, used to doing PE where you put your bra over your towel and then shimmy it down, even with your friends, like the closest
Yeah.
friends. Like, heaven forbid you see anyone naked.
Mm.
And so that was the thing, like, I was stressing about in my head. And I did it. And like most performances I do, I don't really have a memory of what I did on stage. I'll come off out of breath, sweaty, knowing I did something. But if someone said, okay, you need to go back on and recreate that, second for second, wouldn't be able to because I couldn't tell you what I did.
Are you just in the moment?
I think so, very much so. And yeah, I guess adrenaline and energy just takes over.
Hmm.
And it's really wonderful to sort of, yeah, for 4 or 5 minutes, be not in your head about anything.
Yeah.
Um, which I think is the thing I really enjoy about it. But yeah, it's a strange days, but once I got over the whole British bodiness, um, Berlin really helped with that. This is a city where anything goes. You go to
Hmm.
the lakes in the summers, and the Germans are just very comfortable, well, especially East Germans, with nudity because it's not sexual. The
Yeah.
naked body is not solely sexual, it's
Hmm.
just nudity. And I saw bodies I'd never seen before, you know, bigger bodies. There were single mastectomies, double mastectomies, older bodies, pregnant bodies, queer bodies, not, but and it was just one of these where you're seeing naked bodies up close in
Hmm.
a non-sexual setting, realizing that, oh, we've been lied to, like
Mm.
porn and the patriarchal gaze of marketing completely lied to us and said that this is the body that everyone should have. And it was just really freeing, being like, okay, I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
And then having to remember when I came back to the UK that not everyone in the UK feels like that. So maybe don't just be wandering around naked. You sort of, again, respecting people's boundaries on that. And yeah, but I always say if I recommend Berlin to anyone, even if it's just go and have a summer and yeah, go to the lakes, go to the saunas, go to the parties, and just sort of immerse yourself in this give a fuck kind of cities, which I think we have a few in the UK that have more of that,
Mm-hmm.
but it's definitely not as free.
Yeah. Berlin was somewhere that me and my partner had looked at moving to, but it's so much harder because of Brexit. Um, so we've scrapped that. But it was somewhere that we wanted because we went for a weekend and we just really liked the vibe. Like it just
Yeah,
kind of spoke to us. I was like, I could happily live here. There's work for both of us in our day jobs. I was like, yes, this is great. But obviously, yeah, Brexit fucked that plan. Um, but yeah, like what you're saying, I'm really bad for just wandering around the house with no clothes on, and it's just me and my partner, and he's just like, fucking put clothes on, and I'm like, why? But he'll be like on a work call, and I'm just pure pottering about. Obviously, they can't see me, but he's like, fuck,
sure.
Chris.
Sure, I know completely. I mean, if it's warm enough, absolutely. I feel the cold. So I'm definitely not built to be in Northern Europe. I'm supposed to be somewhere sunnier. But I know, yeah, and it's sort of like, why is it a big deal?
Yeah.
You shouldn't have to, especially the privacy of your own home with a partner. And yeah, just being comfortable is sensational. But yeah, Berlin, I mean, I get it. It's so tough. Brexit, my life. Um, Go get independence, girl. Get
Oh,
independence, get back in and get that passport.
I know. Oh, that would be lovely.
I want that for you.
Yeah,
Honestly,
let's hope.
absolutely. Um, but the Germans are actually very welcoming. So they want a younger workforce. And so actually, I think the loopholes to jump through are fewer than other
Yeah.
countries.
Yeah.
They're smart that way, the Germans.
Yeah, they are clever. I
That's
know
the
it might be something we look back at, but like we've looked and we've applied for jobs and stuff, but a lot of them are like, oh, we're not sponsoring visas just now, and you're like,
yeah, yes.
it's a
But who
drama.
knows? Who
I
knows?
know. I know.
Absolutely.
But back to this. I feel like we're going to go in so many tangents. This is great.
Same.
Um, what you have quite a diverse range of acts.
Uh-huh.
What inspires your acts? How do you come up with them? Like, what's your creative process like?
Ooh, I guess each one varies. So for some, it would have been the song. And I'm such a musical theatre kid.
Oh,
Like
yes.
I was the kid, that pushed back the sofa, put the VHS of a musical on and just dance. And so I take a lot of reference from musical theatre.
Hmm.
Um, Sometimes it's yeah, the idea of a character. Um, but yeah, there's definitely not one set idea. Sometimes it has been a costume piece
Mm.
where I won't lie, my yellow Catherine Delish on sale, thank you very much, uh, was like it was there, and I was like, okay, this is a chance to do it. Yellow's not a particularly common color, as well. I appreciate it's a difficult color to wear because of tones. So I was like, okay, not many people have yellow. I'm going to do that. And then I built the act around the costume,
Yep.
whereas I think everything else has come from music. The red lipstick, that was a prop, not a prop, a present, which is now a prop. So for my 30th birthday, my friend Bertie sent me it. So if you unscrew it, it had a full-size bottle of champagne inside.
Oh, wow.
And he had that delivered to Berlin and it arrived. And it was so me, but I said, well, that's a prop. And so that'll be 7 years old this year. Um, I've been saying I'm going to rhinestone it for 7 years. And
Is
it's
this a
never been
project?
done. Yeah,
Is this a project that you need to be sat down and told to do?
please make me do it. But yes, so that definitely came from that. And I was like, well, what can I do with this giant lipstick? Um, and that one, Margaret Thatcher, I did a show at the WMC and we did like an adult naughty retelling of the Nutcracker. And I was the Sugar Plum Fairy and I was the villain. So I was the upholder of heteronormative values and gender binaries and the rules.
Yeah.
And I did a reverse strip into Maggie Thatcher
Nice.
and then just went around the audience singing a song about don't be gay, don't be trans, don't be this. And it was like a really big, upbeat second opener.
Mhm.
And then the audience like will weirdly get into it, like clapping, and then they go, "Wait, what the fuck? What am I like getting?" And I'm like, "Yeah, this is how they get you." And
Yeah.
I'm also visibly dressed as Margaret Thatcher in Wales, and so there was some booze, but then people were also laughing and enjoying it. But then, very fortunately, when the production finished, we were offered to buy costumes at cost price.
Oh.
Oh yeah, and I was like, "Oh, she's coming home with me."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, even if it's a couple of one-off things, it will be well worth what I paid for it. But now everyone wants the slice of Maggie. And
Yeah.
I feel I've sort of awoken something. I don't know. It's a bit concerning because I'm just like, okay, people really, really, really want Maggie. Uh,
Yeah.
but I love it because it's fun playing the villain.
Mm.
And I always like to get the host to get them booing. So then when I come on stage, it's just this almost powerful, I don't give a fuck energy, then
Hmm.
which then it propels you through the act. But ideally, what I really want to do is to produce a Tory cabinet cabaret because there's so many
Mate,
people with Tory acts, right?
I will be front row.
Absolutely. Like I think the market is there for it, and then but the ultimate goal is to get to do Maggie at the Tory party conference
Yes.
for maybe like four figures.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know whether I'd have to pretend that it's a tribute or they're sort of into the fact that it is a piss take.
I feel
Um,
like you could record a tribute and send
sure.
that and then do your own thing.
Imagine just a sort of like Michael Gove gurning his tits off watching me. Um, but yes, that's what that's what we're hoping for. But I love her because I mean, as a gal from Lincolnshire myself,
Mm.
um, I there's this weird like connection to her. Um, but yeah, no, she's great fun. So yeah, the acts definitely come from various different places. I have a huge playlist of those songs where you'll just be on the train or wherever, and if they make you wiggle, and if they
Yeah.
make you sit up and arch your back a little bit more, you're like, okay, this is hitting
Or you
differently.
start to see something in your brain, you're like, this is how I'd move to. I've got to also have a playlist of
Oh yeah.
far
And
too
a
many
notes
songs.
app of just like ideas, ideas, ideas. And then you're like, I need someone to just give me like 100 grand,
Yeah.
please. And because there's so many ideas.
Mhm.
But I think, yeah, now because it has been so long, and I guess people expect certain things from you, that I probably could put some of these together, but it's the execution that I want to be really good.
Mhm.
I don't mind doing it for a one-off. So if someone says it's just this theme show, like you'll never have to do it again. Can you throw this together? And I'm like, that I can do. But yeah, if I'm investing in a new act, yeah, I definitely want to be able to um, explore all options when creating a costume or wigs or props.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, and also then storage.
Mm.
Honestly, my house is a mess because everything's sort of stuffed and feathery and glittery everywhere. Um, and I've got a large prop idea that I want to do, but I'm like, well, where would I keep it? So
Yeah.
that's just not feasible.
Then you
But
have to pay for storage, and then that's more money. And
absolutely, and I don't drive, so it's sort of like, well, is that feasible on public transport? Probably not. So let's see, let's see what happens.
are you working on anything actively at the moment, or are these just ideas?
So my latest one, the Dorothy,
Mm-hmm.
so tap dancing, friend of Dorothy. Um, I just it was one of those for years, and I just kept putting it off because it wasn't finished. And I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna get it on the stage because there's no point investing any more time or money if I hate it.
Yeah.
So getting it up, but I have an idea for what I want it to go and where to go to. But right now it's good fun. I'm enjoying it a lot. Again, it's pure musical theatre. It's campus tits. And then having being able to tap dance again, but it's something that I haven't done since my early 20s. Is so much fun. Apart from producers who book it, and then I go, "Well, is the stage wooden?" And they go, "No, carpeted." I'm like,
Yeah, how is that going to work?
so yes, but yeah, that's one way I want it to go. I've spoken to a few costume makers about getting quotes and I for for ideas I just want to see floating about. Um, but yeah, we shall see what happens. It's that thing, isn't it, where the minute you have time and energy, you have no money. And the
Yeah.
minute you have money, you have no time and energy because you're busy making the money. They never come together at the right time. And I am Princess Procrastination. Uh, I like the thrill of the deadline for some
Yeah.
reason. Um, so in my head, I'm like, I've got ages, and then it's yeah, like 2 days before, thinking I've got to pull this together. So I'm definitely gotten better, but some days, that glue is not 100% dry.
Yeah. You're like, it's fine. Um, I was gonna ask, do you feel I think that in the age of kind of social media, there's almost like a pressure to always be creating new things. Do you sometimes feel that, or are you comfortable with what you have?
I I know what you mean. I think especially for social because it's an instant visual.
Hmm.
I think in a way this is where burlesque differs from drag. Drag pumps out new acts, and I think they're very much more the zeitgeist of like what's the meme, what's the song, what's the moment,
Yeah.
and then they have to respond to that. Whereas burlesque, I was saying, it's if we put out one new act a year, that I think that's great
Hmm.
because it takes so long to come up with your concept, your costume, your musicality. Um, that it's if you're trying to do new acts all the time, something is going to suffer, right? Whether it's the quality of the storytelling or the costume piece, and as well, I think it takes a while for you to really sit in your act,
Yep.
and you can tell when someone is like, "Oh, this is the first time I've done it." And you're like, it's not that it was bad, it was just that you've not you're still sort of mapping it out. Whereas you can tell someone's like their signature act, you're like,
Yeah.
you have done this to death. You could be on death's door or blind drunk and you would still do this perfectly. And I quite like getting to that point where usually because of exhaustion, just because of traveling and working so much, and that knowing that, should the worst happen and you feel like shit or whatever else, you're going to give a blinding performance anyway because of that comfortableness. And you've picked up on the moments that the audiences pick up on, but then you've also got the confidence for new reactions or something going wrong. And I think that takes time. So putting pressure on yourself to be constantly creating new acts um, feels like a lot of work. And I always think just adapt what you have. Like Gina Sterling is a wonderful example of this.
Oh yeah, I love her for this.
And it's so clever, and because of it, like no one would ever say that her performance is anything less than brilliant.
Yeah.
So I think, sort of taking that on, and I see it a lot in new performers investing crazy money in their first ever act. I don't think anyone really loves or maybe does their first act the way they did it when they first did. Whether it's a music change, a costume change, or an idea change. So it's sort of wild to me that, yeah, that they feel, I guess, as you said, because of social, that they've got to be head to toe rhinestones, and not just, cheapy Amazon rhinestones, but they've got to buy the big ones. Or whether it's, yeah, fans or a Catherine Delish, it's like I've got to have all of these things, otherwise I can't go on stage. And I'm like, my first act, I was literally in Primark pajamas.
Yeah.
And that was sort of like, and then it grew from there. I don't do it very often, but it's definitely improved and grown. But yeah, there's a lot of pressure, and social media is the devil for that. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, we have to use it because it's our main platform for getting work. So,
Yep. I've found that the past few years, I've found, like you said, it tends to be an act a year. I'm not doing a new one this year. I've
mhm.
decided. I'm just kind of enjoying sitting with the ones I have. I feel like I have a nice range now. I'm quite comfortable. But yeah, I do see it is that like, oh, there's a delish and the corset dripping in rhinestones. And I'm like, I didn't have that until I was a good few years in. Because I didn't have fans until maybe a couple of years ago because I just couldn't afford them.
Absolutely. And also, it's like, well, why do you want that? Is it just because of the aesthetic, or do you have an idea for what you're using? But also, I think the detriment to having all these things is you set the audience up for big expectations, and
Hmm.
then if you're unable to deliver to the same standard as your costume, it's a bit of an anticlimax.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think it will pass. I think this happens in waves all the time, and suddenly we go from, yeah, everyone wanting to be decked out in the finest to then it's suddenly becoming a bit punk again
Yeah.
and a bit underground and seedy again. So I don't know. The economy gets better and we get a new government. Hopefully it swings that way again. But let's see.
That would be nice. When you're on stage and you're performing, then are we seeing like obviously you've got ones that are like characters,
Yeah.
but is it like an amplified version of you, or are you always a sort of character on stage?
Ooh. It's a bit of both. I guess, as I said, I think something definitely takes over.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it's pop. I don't think Cadbury would do something I wouldn't do, much to my detriment. Which I think that's I think, yeah, I'm naturally theatrical.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Cadbury definitely is the no, that's a lie. I was gonna say Cadbury's the party girl, and I realized I started saying it, and I went, well, that's a fucking lie. Um, I'm just as feral in my day to day. Um, but I definitely favor my downtime. I'm a house cat at heart.
Mm,
If I can potter around all day on my own in pajamas, and I love to cook and I love my own company. Like I literally have had a bolognese bubbling away downstairs for like the past 3 hours, and the thought of eating that tonight with a glass of
mm,
red wine,
mm-hmm.
that to me is the greatest joy. So Cadbury definitely pulls me out, when you, especially during the winter months where
Yeah.
you've done that and you're in the house and you're cozy, you've got your PJs on and everything, and then you realize you've got to leave the house to go to a gig, and you're like, I don't want to stick lashes on, I don't want to stick paint, I don't want a rhinestone thing up my
Yeah.
ass.
Yeah.
And you're like, but you're like, you only have yourself to blame because you booked this gig.
Yeah. I've
And you're
had
like,
that.
you.
So
It's
many
so many
times.
times. And honestly, I think everyone knows who's shared a backstage with me. I'm very honest because I'll be doing my makeup and I'm like, I can't be bothered. But the minute I'm then like up and ready and fully dressed and the buzz of the show starts, I'm like, we're ready to go. But there's that thing of just like I am a house cat. If I'm not out, I just want to be cozy and sleepy and eating. Um, but yeah, so it's a real mix. I think I don't, it's that thing. It's like I don't know if it's the fact I'm getting older or the fact that Cadbury is in my life that as well my sort of give a fuck attitude towards life and bullshit has definitely gone up. I was very much a people pleaser in my early 20s, and now I'm like, I don't give a shit
Yeah.
about anything. So I'm like, is that age and wisdom? Is that Cadbury and Burlesque? Well, a mixture of both. Who knows?
I definitely feel that. I am very much like I have no fucks to
Yeah,
give. Like
just,
in terms of like people's opinions of me, as long
uh-huh.
as like I always want to be a nice person to other people, but if someone that takes an issue with me or whatever, then whatever, fine. If in my day job, I'm like, I do my job, I do it well, don't really give a fuck what else. It's like I am very much like,
Absolutely. It's because I don't know, I guess what you value
hmm
changes. Um, and yeah, no, I enjoy it. And I just also try and impart that with my students if I'm teaching or with friends who are non-performers. I'm just like, look,
hmm
I'm like, care less, but care more about the things that really matter to you.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's a great feeling. I'm loving, honestly, I know a lot of people fear or are uncomfortable with getting older. I'm loving it. It's so
Same.
good.
It's so good. It's
So good.
so good.
Yeah,
Like I turn 37 in 2 months and I'm like, yes, please, thank you.
yeah, yeah, same. 37 July. So it's like, let's
Yes.
go. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. This is clearly just peak. Or it'll
Oh
keep
yeah,
going. It'll keep going.
I will keep going. And I think this is why um society as a whole is scared of us.
Mm-hmm.
Because we just don't care.
No.
So we're not buying that product or we're not doing this thing or we're not shutting up. We're just like, we don't care.
We're doing our own thing.
Oh yeah.
Um, you touched on teaching.
Uh-huh.
So you do a little bit of teaching. What
Yep.
is it that you enjoy about that? Like what drew you to it? Is it part of again, oh, so many people in burlesque end up doing some sort of teaching? Is it that you wanted to impart something? Like where did that come from?
Yeah, I guess I've always sort of taught theatre, usually to children, but definitely been part of like community theatre and things.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds so wanky, but you honestly do learn something yourself teaching.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, but yeah, it's true. It's, whether it's looking at something a different way or a problem that you didn't even consider that, you can maybe tackle or help with or whatever else. But I tend to focus, yeah, on theatricality because I think what I was seeing was a lot of performers who either moved beautifully because of maybe they were trained dancers or just naturally wonderful dancing, but gave nothing with their face or they were scared to look unattractive or have that photo where it wasn't perfect.
Everyone's got that photo where you're like, eh.
And I'm like, if you don't have that photo, then you're not giving it all on stage.
Yeah.
And, obviously each act, each character, each story differs, but there's just something wonderful and raw about the live theatre aspect of it
Mm-hmm.
that I think a lot of people struggle with. Um, and I think people don't forget about their face. So I always try and say, rehearse your face while you rehearse. I look at yourself in the mirror. That's something we learned at university. Is just like figure out what your face can actually do.
Yeah.
Some people are wonderful winkers, Um, so, um, some people aren't, and it's figure out what you have to offer,
Hmm.
and use that to your advantage. And I'm very much a believer of work smarter, not harder. You, unless you really, really want to, and this is the story, you don't need to be going 5, 6, 7, 8, but for the
Yeah.
whole act. Like, take your time, stand still, look at the audience. Eye contact, so sexy, but it also makes people uncomfortable, which
Mm.
is very powerful. And actually, there's a few of my acts where I don't do a huge amount physically.
Mm.
There's a lot of staring, engaging with maybe one person, and then moving on to somebody else. And then just sort of pottering about the stage. And I think if you have the ability to do that, it means then when you go to different stages, and they suddenly, they're teeny tiny or slippery, or yeah, you're up close to an
Yeah.
audience, then suddenly it's not an issue to adapt your act. But
Yeah.
if you've relied on huge amounts of space, or viewpoints, for things like floor work or whatever else, suddenly if that's gone, well, what else can you do? And so
Mhm.
I really enjoy teaching that. I love seeing students, yeah, shake off any hang-ups or bullshit that they carry around with them, and come into class excited with new ideas. And yeah, some of the new ideas that are coming out, I'm like, shit, the kids are really good.
Oh, the newbies are fucking. I will say this consistently all the time. They're fucking banging. Some of the newbies that are coming out just now.
It's insane, and it's wonderful to see. And it is, again, it does light a fire under your ass of,
Yeah.
don't get complacent, don't get lazy, don't rely on your name or
Mhm.
reputation to keep getting you bookings, because these kids are coming, and they'll often work for less too, because they're just starting out and they haven't really, asserted
Yeah.
what they want to charge. And but I really love seeing what they're
Mhm.
doing, and it's weird and it's different and it's new, and it's when they haven't been jaded by 10 years of dragging a suitcase around. It brings such a wonderful energy as well to backstage, which is so lovely.
I remember saying to someone not that long ago that I think your first act is almost like your freest act because you're not creating it with the expectations of what burlesque should be because you're new.
Yeah,
So like you're probably at your most freest creatively. Um
absolutely. Yeah,
and that's I really am trying to kind of claw back that feeling for
yeah,
things, but it's hard because you become immersed in this world.
fully. And you're sort of like, well, which is gonna have the best returns? Which is
Yeah.
gonna make me money?
Yeah.
Which is gonna get me booked for the big shows I've been dreaming about? And so, yeah, when you start, then yeah, the external factors start kicking in. Yeah, then of course, your that freedom of flow, um, is affected. And yeah, the first one is sort of just like this, usually a huge, stupid, silly, fun, wonderful concept, um, and it makes sense in your head.
Yeah.
Um, and I, yeah, really love that. And I did workshops last year in Manchester, and we had like 15 students perform in the showcase, and each act could not be more different, and the ideas were mental. Yes, uh, could they be polished or refined or whatever else? Yeah, but was it a bad performance? Absolutely not. And like, it was just joyful,
Hmm.
fun, great show. So yeah, no, I really, yeah, if we could sort of bottle that, that would be great. Because yeah, sometimes you're just like, well, this is my corporate act, and this is
Hmm.
my pride act, and this is my this act, and it's just like, well, actually, what if, no bars held, if what would you actually do if
Yeah.
someone said, there's no limit, just create something? Like, what would you actually come up with? And I bet it would bring you so much joy.
Yep. And just try to get that back. I think it's important. Um, Speaking about kind of, well, growing as performers. You have been on the top 50 most influential performers in the world more than once. What was it like, or what is it like to be recognized as influential?
It's so weird. And I think this is, again, this Britishness of sheer
Yeah.
embarrassment and uncomfortableness.
Hmm.
Because you're like, I just do what I do. Like, I'm no better than anyone else. And I think there are people way better than I am. But then remembering it's not a better list, it's very much an influence list. And that, yeah, can be whether, what you're doing on social, teaching, or opening doors, or sort of like blazing the way in certain things. And so remembering it is by no means a thing about your talent for sure. Um, it was the first time, so bizarre. Um, I was at home in the arse end of nowhere with no signal, and I got a message from Felicity being
Hmm.
like, "Bitch," and I'm like, "What?" But then her message just didn't come through, so all I got was "bitch," and I'm like, "What?" And then I finally saw, and I was like, "Okay, this is pretty huge." And then you think, "Okay, that will be it, right? That's your year." And then the next year, I was doing Nutcracker at the WMC, and we were backstage about to go on stage. And then it came through again, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" And it jumped as well, and I was just like, "This is ridiculous." Why? The thing is, for me, I would really love to know how many people vote.
Mm.
Is it a case of 200 people voted for me, or is it 2,000? I want to know
Yeah.
the numbers because I don't know. In my head, it would make more sense to understand. Oh, 200 makes sense because you go, well, if you did 50 shows that year, and yeah, if then three or four people from each show voted, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Hmm.
But if it's more than that, it's like, how, what, why? Um, absolutely. And so then there also is this feeling of responsibility. Because now suddenly, I mean, I hate it, when hosts are like, and she's number this in the UK, and I'm like, don't tell them that because now I have to be really good. I'm having an off night. Stop it. But yeah, it's also then responsibility of I think to the community. So for me now being on the variety board for equity and the Greater Manchester Council for Equity, definitely pushing more for support for burlesque because even a lot of their legislation and the sort of work that they're putting out there is definitely geared more towards theatre actors.
Yep.
So there needs to be a lot more support and understanding of the way we work. So I think that's where I'm trying to put my power to make positive changes to fees, working conditions, but then also knowing, hopefully performers feel comfortable uh, coming and asking questions. I've always said, if they're ever unsure about a show, a venue, a producer, a festival, if I don't know, I will find out for you. Because we know there's some wrong'uns out there that we can't always put, visibly out on social because of legalities. And so I just want everyone to be safe, but also then make their own decision. If I tell someone what I know or, have been told, and they still decide to work with them, like I can't stop someone from taking work. I just think everyone having yeah, the right information, so they can make an informed decision is important. So yeah, there's definitely a pressure to continue to help burlesque as an art form, burlesque as a community, and then again be like, okay, well then what's next? Am I updating an act? Am I making a new act? Am I trying out something new? Just to I think make that vote feel valid because yeah, it definitely does. It feels so uncomfortable. Um,
it is so British. It is so because I would yeah, like
Yeah,
it's that way where you're like people voted for me. What?
so
Fuck off.
completely. But then there's definitely something I think people won't talk about is that it's so uncomfortable. But then if you suddenly aren't on there, you're gonna get in your head, right? And be like, well,
Yeah.
why?
Yeah.
It's like, am I not relevant anymore?
Yeah.
So there's a strange sort of catch-22 with how you feel about it because now you're sort of like, well, now I have to stay there or improve or jump. Um, but like if I don't, I don't. It's fine. But there's still going to be that moment of, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a very complicated one, and I think it's great because it's definitely led me to performers maybe that I didn't know about, and definitely
Hmm.
celebrating a wider range of burlesque. Because when I started, the list was very different,
Yeah.
and so now we're seeing a much broader representation of the art form, which is wonderful. How Holly does it single-handedly is beyond me. Um, but I love that then she takes the time to do the interviews and the articles with everyone because I think it's so important to, yes, see beyond the rhinestones of
Yeah.
who is behind the artwork that we're loving so much. So, yeah, it's a strange one. It's like, when you, yeah, at school, if you want an award, you're just sort of like, thank you, but I don't want to stand up in front of the whole school and get it. But thank
You're
you.
like, thank you, but don't perceive me.
Yeah, absolutely that.
Perceive me, but also don't. That would be lovely.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah. You touched on community there and kind of wanting to step up in the community, and obviously you've talked about equity. I'm guessing then, like, is to you, is community important both on stage and behind the scenes as well?
Absolutely. I mean, there are obviously more and more performers popping up, but we're still such a small scene.
Yeah.
Everyone knows everyone. And so I think, yeah, ensuring behaviors are safe and, yeah, backstages and spaces are safe for everyone to go into and that, yeah, that people feel comfortable entering. So I'd never want anyone to feel, oh, I can't go and do burlesque because of whatever reason. So and also, it's just really nice as someone I performs full time. Then often you're alone in the house in the daytime, and then you go in. So this is your social
Yeah.
scene, and yeah, if you're having a shit day, train's been cancelled, suitcase is broken, you feel like shit. You waiting on a million invoices, and so you're living off of like Greg's sausage rolls. It's so important for to come into a backstage and be able to have a laugh or have a moan or just be around people who get it
Yeah.
because yeah, those when you've had 4 hours sleep to catch that flight and then you've got to tech at 4 p.m. and then but you don't go on stage till 10 p.m. You really need those people to get you through it
Hmm.
because tequila will only get you so far. So you can't do too much of that before you go on stage. So, but yeah, I think nurturing that, and like we all have our closer friends, right?
Yep.
They're usually people that you see more often, or you've got similar styles, or you just sort of mesh. But I still think again, it's a very intimate thing. We're probably getting into a state of undress. We often need help, whether it's with a corset or a difficult costume piece or a prop. So I just think maintaining this community and support and appreciation for what others do without seeing it as competition, um, or thinking that you are better than somebody else entering a space um, because you're the headliner or such. I mean, we're all still getting changed next to the washing machine in the accessibility toilet. So let's not pretend that we're decent on teas. So yeah, I think community is so important. I think it's also one of the reasons people continue to stay with burlesque. I think if we didn't have this, a lot more people would go, okay, yeah, I'm done, I'm out, I don't want to do this anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. I've kind of touched on this with me and I obviously yap all the fucking time. Um, and I've kind of said like this is an industry, but you always have community within any industry. Like even in my day job, I have a community of people. So like, why wouldn't I have that here as well? Like,
Absolutely. It's so important. And yeah, some of the best nights I've had have been backstage.
yeah,
And a good backstage is a sign of a good producer who's sort of worked out characters and energy. And but then also I think I know a lot more teachers and schools are touching on sort of backstage etiquette,
yep,
which I think is important. But it's just, yeah, sometimes, yeah, as I said, you can be having the worst day and actually just sat in your slippers and your robe, cackling away with someone that you've not seen in a year
yeah,
suddenly makes a huge difference. And yeah, no, I love it.
good. I definitely love it as well. I'm exactly the same. Like, there's nothing quite like, oh yeah, I haven't seen you in forever. How have you been? I've seen you on socials doing this. What are you up to?
Yeah, so good. And that's the thing, right? You often don't know who you're booked with until they announce the show. And
Yep,
sometimes it's that feeling of like, oh my God. One, I'm like a little bit intimidated because it's so and so.
yep,
And another is like, that's just me and my gals. Like we're
yep.
just basically being paid to yeah, have a few drinks together and have a good night. So it's always fun to see who you got to be on with.
Yeah. So you've done a lot in your career so far. We've touched on it, 10 years. Do you have any career goals, things that you still want to do to tick off?
I think definitely just keeping on getting better. And again, that sounds so wanky, but
We're in the arts, everything is kind of a bit wanky, it's fine.
yeah, but yeah, just continue to develop. And I definitely started learning way more about the history.
Hmm.
Um, I love people like Victoria Rose put in so much effort
Yep,
to teach the history, especially British history.
yep.
And there's definitely on the evil platform that is Amazon, unfortunately, a wonderful selection of documentaries on pin-ups and go-go dancing and strip clubs and burlesque. And just sitting and watching that while I'm rhinestoning or whatever else. It's really wonderful to feel very connected to the art form and
Hmm.
understanding your sort of brief flicker of career in a sense of the timeline of
Yep.
burlesque. But yeah, I would definitely. There's some places I'd love to travel to. Um, like Australia would be sensational. I would love to go to South America. I would like to go. I mean, I'd love to. There's parts of the US I'd love to go to, but just not right now. But yeah, Canada, of course. They're putting out some sensational talent. There's still
Hmm.
parts of Europe I haven't yet hit up. So yeah, a lot more travel. Um, I think everyone would like to say that they have headlined a big festival.
Yep.
Um, Feels scary though, but at the same time, it just feels like a sort of validation of what you're doing.
Yep.
Um, for me, I loved Beehoff, had the best time. I am the least competitive person to the point like when I play board games, people get annoyed at me and they're like, "Why don't you care?" And I'm like, "I'm just having a good time with you all." So the idea of competing doesn't really do it for me.
Yeah.
Uh, the other nights, yeah, the movers, shakers, and innovators, yeah, definitely more my vibe. But excuse me, the joys of hay fever starting. Um,
Yeah.
the yeah, it doesn't really get me going.
Yeah.
Um, I loved Edinburgh Fringe. I'd like to come back, but I'd also
Yeah.
like to make some money. So,
Oh yeah, you can't do that here.
no,
That's a myth, mate.
absolutely. So, yeah, but yeah, I would love to do Tory Cabinet Cabaret. It's going to happen. I
It
a,
better.
a good range of people who obviously already have acts, but others that have said they'd be willing to do. And yeah, I'd love to do a big prop. It's just the logistics of it. But let's see. Who knows?
Fingers crossed it'll happen.
Absolutely. I think I just need, honestly, to find a sugar daddy. I think
Oh,
that's the way we're going,
can you
you know?
hook me up if you think?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Right, I have some like silly quick fire questions. So, what's the sexiest song to strip to?
Tough call, right? That one. Um, my lipstick, I love. I just want to make love to you. It's that Phil thing, rah, 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 which
Yeah.
just I think it gets everyone going. But I love Black Velvet. That slow burn, and it's such everyone. Obviously, it's in probably every burlesque class and whatever else. But again, I think anything that makes you arch your back and bite your lip is
Yep.
a good song to strip to. Yeah.
No, I get that. One costume piece you'd never perform without.
Oh, bruh, I've got big old biddies. There's just, it would be completely uncomfortable. This is, always a fear when especially if I fly somewhere, that my case doesn't make it because I know a lot of performers are like, no, but we all just get together and we just make it work. And I'm like, ain't no way.
Yeah, what
Anyone.
where is yeah.
So it definitely a bra because yeah, it would just be wholly uncomfortable.
You are blessed, but I can imagine it is also
Yeah,
a pain.
yeah, absolutely.
And if Cadbury Parfait had a warning label, what would it say?
May contain alcohol. And by May,
You
definitely.
mean will?
I think everyone knows me that going that yeah, I'm the party girl. I'm the one who goes, are we? And I completely respect and I will always check with the producer if they permit it at their shows.
Yep.
But if I can and I will, I do like to imbibe. Never ever been, that's a lie. I've definitely been drunk on stage once or twice, but I know my limits.
Yep.
Berlin, it was a different time. Uh,
To be fair, I thought you were going to say Edinburgh Fringe, and I was going to be like, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's just Berlin, but it's I just again it's my often my social life as well is sort of tied to the show.
yeah,
So I do enjoy, and I also think I do the girl math thing where say like I have two cocktails and they're normally £12. Well, then I've made £24 on top of my fee.
yeah.
It's bollocks, but in my head that makes sense.
No, I love ghetto math like that. I live by ghetto math.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, I'm going on holiday next month, and I'm like, oh, it's free because I paid for it months ago, so it's free.
absolutely. Oh yeah. Or if you get a refund on a train, you've made money.
Yeah,
God,
not how that works.
no.
Anyway, where can our lovely listeners and watchers follow you in the future to see all your exciting Tory cabinet show plans?
Instagram is my main gal, Cadbury Parfait. I do have TikTok, but as we said, pushing 37 this year, so it's not as good at TikTok as Instagram. And I have since said goodbye to Facebook because I can't be doing with it. But Instagram, absolutely. My emails are on there as well. And I love people sliding into my DMs because, on hour 5 on a Flixbus, it's always fun to get an interesting question or request or whatever else. Um, but yeah, that's where you'll see all my shows or classes or just um, my silly stories, usually of me cooking or drinking.
Sounds wonderful.
Yeah,
Everyone should follow you. Uh, well, thank you so much. This has been genuinely lovely, as it always is to speak to everyone, but it was really nice to chat to you. So thank you so much for joining me today.
amazing. Thank you so much. It's honestly as well. I was cooking and I realized I was like, I need to do some water, like a vocal walk, because I haven't spoken to a single person today. And when you like, I just don't want to sound like I've just woken up.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm just, yeah, sort of warming up in the kitchen. I'm like, but no, it's been really lovely. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And enjoy your bolognese.
Bolognese. Amazing.
All right, bye,
All right.
lovely.
Catch you later. Bye.